He's the omniscient creator of the universe.
Yeah.
Kind of vis-a-vis, like, everything that occurs in the universe is because of God. While not maybe a direct plane of God, it's kind of like, you could think of the universe as kind of like a Rube Goldberg machine, or like a clock or something that God created, and all the operations that happen are kind of like that.
Yeah.
Then why if God can kind of control those starting conditions that result in, say, like you said, the babies in the ward being racked with illness,
right?
How come those starting conditions are those starting conditions? That there is no better way to have, things like unlivable with illness and innocence, or genocide, etc., etc. And he viewed this as a very difficult problem, and obviously it is. And so I'd just like to hear your thoughts on that.
My plea would be, watch out when you say God is all-powerful. Watch out. I haul back, slap her in the face, and turn to you and say, God made me do it. Not only am I a liar, I'm a con artist. God gave me a hand, he gave me a will. He gave me this hand for a purpose, loving and respecting this woman, not slapping her. But because I have a free will, I can choose to slap her, abuse her. Why? Because I have a free will. So then the obvious hard question is, well, then why did God choose to give us a free will? I think the answer to that is real simple. If you don't have a free will, you don't have love. If I have to love you, I'm a robot.
That's not real love.
Exactly. And because God is not a robot, and because he did not create you and me as robots, we have the ability to love. But obviously, with the ability to love, we also have the ability to hate, to choose not to love, to be apathetic, to not give a rip about another person. Oh, you're hungry and starving? Suck it up. Excuse me? Yeah, that is an option. And what Christ says is, no, you learn to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, not because you have to, but because you finally get it through your bone head that human beings have innate value because they're created in the image of God. They're not bags of chemicals. And if this man is starving, then I have a moral responsibility to feed them and not to say, suck it up, good luck. But what does that mean? It means I got a free will. And you know very well that if you've been dating a young lady for the past 5 months, she has said to you, I love you, and tonight if your dad calls you and says, son, I've been paying her $1,000 a week to love you, you'd be royally bummed out. Why? Because you know that in order to be real, love has to be free. So why is there evil and suffering? Because God chose to limit his power by giving us a free will. We chose to abuse that free will, and instead of loving and respecting this man, I denigrate him, I manipulate him, I use him to get ahead. Yeah, that's evil. That leads to suffering. So that is why I would encourage you to think through with your friend this incredibly important issue of free will leads to I am responsible for what I do, which leads to now I'm going to choose whether to love him or to hate him, to love him or to be apathetic towards him.
I don't believe in like the supernatural, the miracles,
Okay, good.
Eternal life, heaven and hell, that type of
Why don't you believe in the supernatural?
That's the thing. It brings me back to I don't know if I'm not a Christian again, right?
Right.
Like, not super familiar with the stories.
You bet.
But when Christ was in the desert and Satan tempted him with
Yes.
like the 3 things,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
The second one was to show the people something supernatural.
Yep.
And so I just can't understand why he didn't do it.
Yep.
Why did he not show the people that he could perform miracles, he could do the supernatural? And I think that's just one of the biggest things. If there is something truly powerful out there,
Yeah.
he expects too much of people just to put their blind faith into them. If he truly wanted people to not argue about it or fight each other to the death about it, why wouldn't he just show that he is truly powerful?
Okay, great question. When you read the Gospels, you'll notice Jesus never performed miracles as a magic trick to get skeptics to believe in him. Instead, he performed miracles to help hurting people. And what he pointed out is our hearts, our motives, our ambitions, our personhood, is twisted. And we like to manipulate, and we like to play games if it'll help us get ahead. And Christ says God's not going to do that with you. God has given you evidence that he exists. Here's the evidence that I am reliable, Jesus says. Now you've got to choose. So I've been doing this for 40 years, and some of the most intelligent professors that I've been privileged to meet, when I ask them the question, what are you living for, and what's the evidence that what you are living for is true? It's embarrassing. One postdoc guy at Columbia University in New York City, Cliff, don't ask me that question. I can't answer that. I said, what do you mean, sir? You just invited me to speak in your class on Luther and Zwingli. Tremendous class. The guy's brilliant. And I ask him, what are you living for? And what's the evidence to what you're living for? And he says to me, I can't answer that. Don't ask me that question. Sir, something's not right. It's your life. What are you living for? And what's the evidence that what you are living for is true? And if a postdoc teaching humanities at Columbia University says, don't ask me that, that's scary. Talk about an unexamined life. Talk about being brain dead about the most important questions of your life. Come on, guys. We got to do better than that. Can I prove Christ? No. Can I prove God? No. But is there a buckload of evidence that God exists? Is there a buckload of evidence that Jesus is reliable? Absolutely, yes. And then when I get mean, I'll pin a guy and say, okay, fine. You tell me it's not enough evidence? Then tell me what you're living for, and please give me the evidence. For 40 years, sir, on this campus and a lot of other campuses, I've been getting the most poorly thought out answers to those two questions. It's scary. Which tells me something. I'm no different. I want to be God. It means I want to call the shots. It's fascinating. I ask someone, do you believe in the resurrection of Christ? They say no. I say, okay, fine, no problem. Why? And they stumble. And I say, okay, let me make a guess. The reason you don't believe in the resurrection of Christ is because if you know that he rose from the dead, you know he's the truth. And that means you'd have to obey him when it comes to sex. And at Harvard University, a bunch of guys I respect so much said, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't want Jesus telling me what to do sexually. So no, I don't believe Jesus rose from the dead, because I know intellectually that if he did rise from the dead, it means I can't do whatever I want to sexually. I got to obey him. Bravo, guys. Thanks for your honesty. Thanks for sharing these few minutes with us. Stuart and I are two of the pastors at Grace Community Church in New Canaan, Connecticut. You can find out more about Grace Community Church by going to gracecommunity.info. Every Sunday morning we have a 9 o'clock service at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Darien, Connecticut. It's right off exit 37 of the Merritt Parkway. And then we have a 10 o'clock service at Grace Farms, which is located at 365 Lukeswood Road in New Canaan, Connecticut. Hope you can join us this coming Sunday morning. Have a blessed day.